Ben Strauss, New York Times reporter, had an article. Last summer, a judge ruled in favor of the athletes in the Ed O'Bannon case versus the NCAA. This allowed universities to share money with athletes via trust funds. The NCAA appealed. Ben joins us now on loan from the New York Times. Where are we on the NCAA appeal, Ben?
We're playing a waiting game today, Dan. We are waiting for the appellate court in California, the Ninth Circuit, to issue some sort of ruling today, give some guidance, because that ruling Judge Wilkin gave last year is set to go into effect tomorrow.
If it goes into effect, how does that change in players, students being paid?
So the ruling doesn't say schools have to pay players. It just says that the NCAA can't prevent them from paying players, as they have done for years and years. What it would allow them to do is offer trust funds to players, and we're not talking millions and millions of dollars here. We're talking, for men's basketball and top football players, we're talking about a $5,000 per year trust fund, and the NCAA could cap it right at that. So we're not talking about millions and millions of dollars. We're not talking about, a signing bonus for a guy who commits to Alabama. We're talking about these trust funds that players can have access to after they're done playing.
So this is for post-career that you're able to take. This isn't spending money. This is for
not spending money. No, that's something different. The NCAA actually passed some new rules this year, and that takes care of some of the spending money. So players will have a few extra $1,000 in spending money, and the NCAA is taking care of that on their own.
So you could see this passing, but then they cap it at $5,000. But how do I do it if you play at Duke basketball, Alabama football, and you do the same at Wyoming or San Diego State?
It's all the same. There's no dispensation for the star quarterback at Alabama versus the second string running back at Wyoming if they chose to offer the trust funds. It's capped for everybody.
But what if San Diego State may be at a disadvantage, or Wyoming, that they don't offer this? Or is this going to be a big draw for kids that they get $20,000 when they leave school?
Well, it's questions the NCAA has asked. Sort of, what does this mean? One argument is that all of the best recruits already go to Alabama and Ohio State and Michigan, and when San Diego State competes with those schools, they never get the player anyway. And the flip side is that the eighth guy on Duke basketball's bench would take that $20,000 trust fund over the playing time at San Diego State. So how that affects, we don't know until it happens.
And are we expecting a ruling today?
So there are a handful of things that could happen today. The NCAA has not only appealed the case, they have asked for a stay, which means they just want a delay in the trust funds going into effect. So what could happen today is the court could affirm the ruling, and then we get the trust funds. Court could overturn the ruling and do away with all of this, or the court could agree with the NCAA and say, we're not quite sure about this, we need more time, so we're going to just delay it. So we've got some possibilities here. I'm sorry, I can't give you a more black and white answer.
Okay, but since this is the Ed O'Bannon case versus the NCAA, does this in turn allow colleges to take advantage or capitalize on the likeness of these athletes? Since they are getting paid, now I can have a jersey that says Manziel on the back of it instead of just his number.
Right. The NCAA hasn't changed any of its rules, so how the NCAA would react to this ruling would be fascinating to see, right? So say this goes into effect, right? Does John Calipari see a recruit that he likes on Saturday morning and say, I'm going to offer the trust fund? For the first time, what that would mean is the NCAA couldn't punish him for doing that. And so how the NCAA chooses to suspend its rules or change its rules, because they would be illegal, in the eyes of the U.S. government, would be fascinating to see. And, we don't know exactly how they would change them or exactly what those rules would be.
Thank you, Ben. Good luck.
Thank you. Hope I could help a little bit.
All right. Ben Strauss, New York Times reporter.